Welcome to episode 2 of the Edutainment Podcast. If you guys are new, my name is Alex Jimenez, your host, and we got the boy Christian Tapia, which unfortunately you cannot hear at the moment, but he is behind the camera. And today we're going to be talking about some things about CPG and Ecom brands with their email marketing. So if you're new to this video, this is how the episode's going to work. I'm going to pretty much answer a bunch of questions that Christian's going to ask, and those questions are based on CPG and Ecom, either brand owners, founders, or just people in the space that ask us these questions, or just ChatGPT between the two of us. So let us get started. So Christian, the man Tapia, what is the first question?
How can I create a welcome flow that converts new subscribers into customers?
How can I create a welcome flow that converts new flows to subscribers? Okay, well, so with this question, I'll say this. The main thing you want to have is a chronological sequence within the welcome flow. So, for example, within the welcome flow, you have depends on the brand, but you can have anywhere from like 3 emails at the lowest to like 7 to 10 emails at the maximum. Now, it really all depends on the brand, right? Okay, like what is the main mission of the brand? Are you trying to like bombard your customers with a bunch of emails, or do you just want to give them like just 3 quick emails about, okay, this is the brand, this is what we want to do, here's our product. Now, the question within that is no matter if you have 3 emails, 7 emails, 15 emails, whatever, within that first welcome flow, you want to make sure that you have a chronological sense of the emails going out. So the first email, the only thing you want to get out is a 15% discount code. 15% is, obviously applicable to 10%, $10 off, but you get the point. The first email, you just want to have the discount. The second email, and this is, we have some more, I guess you would say like gray area where you could kind of like mix the second email with the third email, the second. But in general, the first email is about the discount. The second email is more about the product itself. Okay, so if you're selling, chocolate candies, for example, you want to make sure, okay, so what are the chocolate candies? What are the unique selling points of that product or service that you're selling? The third one's more about the unique features and benefits. So the second email was more about, okay, what is the product as a whole? If you're selling coffee, for example, just the coffee itself, here's the product, here's a few options we have. Then the third email is more about what's the unique selling point? What is the thing that makes us different from the millions and millions of coffee brands around the world? So that's the third email. Then you go fourth and fifth, where now you could talk about the founder, why you guys started it, and some people debate whether you should have the first email as the founder email. I disagree with that, and the reason I say that is because in that first email, the only thing people want to get is that first time discount. And number 2, the only way they're going to buy is if they get the first time discount. That's the whole reason of the pop-up form, which is a whole nother conversation, but you get the point. Then you talk about the founder, and then you have some more gray area where you could talk about, okay, what's the mission of the company itself? What are some upcoming things you're going to be having? What are some things you're going to be expecting within the emails that you're going to be sending out? But in general, you want to have those 4 emails be somewhat in a chronological order. What I would guarantee is like the first email, make sure it's a discount. Then you have a little bit more of a gray area, or at least some, you could play around with it in the second, third, and fourth email.
How often should I send emails in post-purchase flows to encourage repeat sales?
How often what was the question again?
How often should I send emails in my post-purchase flow to encourage repeat sales?
Gotcha. So, the way we would like, okay, so the amount of emails we should be sending out in a post-purchase flow in order to increase sales is actually within a post-purchase flow, you could kind of play around with it, right? The first email is obviously just the order confirmation, whereas like some people like to have 2 separate flows with that, but I like to mix the post-purchase and the order confirmation flow together. But the first email is just the order confirmation. Okay, hey, listen, Jennifer Lopez, that's J-Lo, right? Okay, cool, I got that. So hey Jennifer, here's your order, here's when it's going to be shipping out, here's your order confirmation, here's a tracking number to actually track your order. But more specifically, I would say this: don't bombard your customers after the post-purchase flow. And what I mean by that is, like, imagine you just buy something new. You just buy a new product. Let's just say you buy a MacBook, right? You may want information on the MacBook, how to use it. What are the different features I could use within it? What are some ways to log in the MacBook? What are some like key Easter eggs within it? You may want all of that. But the moment you start sending super promotional emails, like, okay, I love that you bought the MacBook. Do you want the keyboard, the mouse pad, the all the software upgrades? Do you want this? Do you want that? And you start bombarding them with a bunch of different stuff, you kind of rub customers the wrong way. Same thing goes with your post-purchase flow. It's good to have your first email just have the order confirmation. Then I would segment it into first-time buyers, second time, third time, fourth time, and then you can make some type of VIP group. But in general, the first email just their order confirmation, and then hey Jennifer, as a PS button. Usually we like text-based emails as your post-purchase flow. But in general, you could say like, hey, listen, before we ship your order out, would you like to add this additional order or product to your order? And then you could say some type of discount, which is like 10% off or just free shipping in general, whatever the case is. But in that first email, you want to have some type of at least incentive to make people buy again in that first order. So then the second order, it could be like, okay, listen, I know you don't have to say this, but maybe they didn't buy in their first post-purchase flow. The second one could be like, hey, listen, it's being shipped out. Would you like to add on this additional thing that we could send out? And because you just purchased your first order, this will be, shipped out for free, for example. So I would say within the post-purchase flow, have at least 3 emails. The first one, just an order confirmation with a little PS at the bottom. Would you like to add this on? The second one is like, hey, listen, it's already being shipped out, or it's very close to being shipped out. Would you like to add an additional item to your purchase for free shipping, for example? And the third one's more about how can your people actually use it. Okay, what are some of the different ways I could use it, especially if you have a product that may be like, I guess, harder to use in some sense. It would be very wise to give them some type of description of the product itself, how to use it, and just to get them excited for the products.
What are the most important email flows I should set up to maximize sales?
So what are the most important email flows to maximize sales? I would say there's mainly 2, and then the third one is not even to maximize sales, but I would say it's very crucial to have. The one I just said is very crucial to have, even though it may not bump sales by like a crazy amount, but it still bumps sales, don't get me wrong, is that post-purchase flow. Reason, obviously, people want to know their order's coming. They want to know a way to track it. They want to know, hey, listen, if I want to get an order, if I just shipped out, if my order's being shipped out, when is it going to arrive? So I would say your order confirmation / post-purchase flow. That's like key number 1. The second thing I would say is no-brainer, your welcome flow. As I mentioned in the first question, this is where you're going to get 50% of your revenue from your flows. So that equates to 25% of your total email marketing revenue goes to just your welcome flow. Now, that being said, obviously you want to make sure you build it out, with a few emails. As I mentioned, it depends on, what type of brand you have. Either you want to do 3 emails or you want to bump it up to like 7 to 10. But in general, I would say your welcome flow is the most important flow to have. Have that discount code and have more features and benefits about the product as the emails go out. And the third email is either a checkout, abandoned checkout flow, or an abandoned cart flow. Now, I will say there's a bit of a misconception about these 2 flows. In Klaviyo, the abandoned cart flow actually isn't an abandoned cart flow, it's an abandoned checkout flow. Ask me, I actually have no idea why they do this. I think it's kind of stupid in my opinion. I don't know, they probably have their own reasons. But if you check in Klaviyo and you want to make the trigger, okay, as soon as somebody makes a add to cart, or at least at the checkout, it will be not at the cart, it will be an add to checkout button. So instead of me saying, okay, let me go on your website, I see that you guys have 4 different coffee flavors, I choose coffee number 1, I add it to cart, and then I just leave it there. That trigger is not going to go out. So in other words, that email is not going to go out until I actually go to checkout, and then it will be triggered. So one thing I would say is, if there's a way to do it, I will search up YouTube videos, because I'm not going to go into like the whole explanation of how, but in general, you want to search up videos of like, okay, how can I change the attribution setting, or not attribution, but the settings to make sure my add to cart trigger is an actual add to cart trigger and not add to checkout. But in general, I would say your abandoned checkout and abandoned cart flows are like the most profitable outside your welcome flow, especially your abandoned cart flow, because obviously it's easier to add an item to cart. It's easier to add an item to cart than it is to add an item to checkout, because it's one extra step. So obviously you might get like 20 people to go add a product to cart, but maybe only like 5 or 6 people to add a product to checkout. So I would say abandoned cart, checkout, one of those 2. Preferably cart, but if you can get cart, checkout. And then your welcome flow number 1, that's obviously the most important outside of your post-purchase / order confirmation flow.
What's the best way to design an abandoned cart flow to recover lost sales?
Okay, so this one I'll actually say it's really only one thing, and it's gonna do like 80% of the work for you guys. So like I think people can overcomplicate an abandoned cart, flow or an email, because at the end of the day they're like, man, I want to make sure that they're so close to buying. How can I make them purchase? And they overcomplicate it. 80% of the work's gonna be done the moment they see the product in that email. So for example, if you add a water bottle to your cart, for example, some crazy equestrian water bottle, I don't know. But if you add a water bottle to your cart, the moment you see it in your email, you're gonna be like, wow, that's the actual, like I actually wanted that water bottle. Oh, the reason I didn't buy is because, maybe my mom called me downstairs, or I had to tend to the kids, or I had to go, work, or, I just didn't have my card on me at the moment. That just seeing the product be in the email, which is, just search it up in YouTube. It's really easy. All you gotta do is create a table and then just add the product, or add the settings to make the product show up in the email. Really just search it up. That's gonna do 80% of the work. So in other words, just having that product in that email is going to do most of the work for you. And then at the bottom, you could say, hey, listen, 3,000 plus customers, over 100,000 X sold, and free shipping for orders $49 and up, for example. So you really don't have to do much work. When you're talking about the second email, that's when you can start adding some features and benefits to it. It's like, hey, listen, these are the unique selling points. Our chocolate or our coconut or our coffee is 100% natural, it's vegan, it's this and that, whatever. But that's when you start going more into the features and benefits. The third email is more about the unique selling point, as I mentioned, and then you can go more about just, again, stick with the product itself, so you have a little bit of playing room with that. Just make sure that the emails you make are about that specific product itself.
How can I personalize my email flows to make them more relevant for each customer?
How can I personalize my email flows?
Yes.
Okay, my email flows to make them relevant to my customers. So with this one, it's quite easy. I mean, as long as you have some type of, as long in the subject line, you could test it out. But if you have some type of subject line that includes the person's name, which is, I know I keep saying just look it up, but trust me, it's very easy. Just like for this thing, obviously, just to add a person's name to the subject line, just search up name personalizations on Klaviyo, and then Klaviyo will show you, it's like a little dash, and then the person's would have been name, and then like the thing you want them to be appearing. So if their name is John, but they don't put their name as John, it would be like friend or buddy or bud or something like that, going out to the email. But I would just say personalize it in the subject lines. If you can't personalize in the subject lines for some reason or another, I would just try to make sure that the emails are very curated to the exact customer that is going to buy. If you know your customers are above 55 years and older, they have a big family, they live in Hawaii or for something, for example, and they love burgers, for example, I don't know, something random, make sure those emails are suggested to are personalized in that way. So make sure, like, if somebody's reading that is 55, has a family, love burgers, for example, they know, okay, this email is going to be curated towards me because this is something I would actually want to read. So yeah.
How do I set up a win-back flow to re-engage customers who haven't purchased in a while?
Yeah, for sure. So to set up a win-back flow to get people to buy again that haven't purchased in a while is really easy. I would say this: maximize it to 2 emails. Here's the reason why. So for those of you who don't know what a win-back flow is, it's just a flow. It's a flow that you send out to people that are triggered based on, I haven't seen an email or I haven't engaged in an email for 90 days plus at least. So for example, if you have 10,000 people in your profile list and you notice that 2,000 of them are never opening your emails, you could make an attribute, or you make a trigger in Klaviyo saying, like, listen, I want this flow to be sent out to people who haven't engaged with my emails in the past 90 days. And then that flow is going to trigger, and then those emails are going to be sent out to people that haven't purchased in, for example, like 90 days. Now, within that 90 day, or not 90 day period, but within that flow, you're going to make sure that the email is only consistent of 2 things. Number 1 is very basic. Just be clear about your intention. Just say, hey, listen, you haven't purchased from us in a while, want to get you back, we miss you, we miss sending you free stuff or free products or whatever, come back. And I would say in the first email, don't even include a discount, just make it apparent. It could be super, super short. Like, for example, we did an email with a brand a while back, and it was like, they sold shippable pizza dough. So all we had for the win-back flow is the first email was literally just a sad pizza face. It was like a pizza, and then like 2 pepperonis, and then like bacon for like a sad smile. And it's kind of a joke. It kind of plays on, and it says like, hey, listen, you haven't purchased in a while, why don't you purchase again? Now, that being said, the second email, I would entice them with some type of discount, and I would say actually make this discount pretty hefty. If people don't even open your emails and they're not engaged with your brand, what's 5% off to them? Try to make it somewhat engaging, because at the end of the day, if you get them to buy again, and after that point they buy again and again and again and again, that 25% off is going to be worth it, because you might break even in the first or technically second purchase because people haven't bought from you in a while, but now you're saying you're getting them to purchase again. That second purchase may just break even, but everything after that point is going to scale up, because obviously you're not paying to get the customers to come back again if they're consuming your emails and buying your product. So I would say the first email, just make it very basic, be transparent about, hey, listen, you haven't purchased from us in a while, why don't you come back again? The second email, hey, listen, I know you haven't purchased in a while, is this the last time we're going to be seeing you? Send some type of discount, and if they don't respond in that second email, I would make a trigger in or a filter within that flow that says, hey, listen, people who haven't engaged with our email after this second email that goes out, kick them out. We don't want them anymore. Sounds mean, but just your delivery is going to be to crap, and it's not going to be worth it. So I would say those 2 things are important. Yeah. So for the last question, guys, Christian's going to make a question off the get-go. Missing out on
how do people
time.
Close their first client to actually work with?
How do people close their first client? You want me to give away my secrets, man?
Hey.
I have no secrets. Yes, I do. Anyways, okay, so this is more for people that have not that are okay. So this question is going to be for people that aren't like in the CPG space, that don't own like a certain CPG product or ecom. Christian just asked, how do you get your first client as an agency? So it's going to be more for freelancers agency. It's an interesting. I would just say try a bunch of different things out. That's what I could say. I would say try a bunch of different things out, but the main thing to keep in mind is you gotta try things long enough. Now that's kind of the game, right? Because you don't know how long is gonna be long enough. Like if you try something for a certain amount of time and you're still like, man, I don't know if I should keep going with this or if I change it. I understand that's like part of the game. You don't know, you really don't. Like, you could be one day away from, getting your first client, and then, a day before you actually would have gotten them, you say, you know what, man, let me change it out. So I would say stick with it long enough. I would say at least, depending on your situation, but I stuck with it about a year until I got my first client, and then it took me like over a year to get my first dollar. So, yeah, man, guys, I would just say stick with it long enough. Try a bunch of different things out. Make sure, I would say this, do your absolute best in the things you're doing. If you know, like, hey, listen, I'm going to try cold emailing. Do cold emailing, but do your absolute freaking best. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you tried your absolute best. Then you can move on and say, you know what, I tried this for long enough. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but based on the information I'm getting now, it doesn't seem like I'm going to get any traction. Let me move on to maybe Instagram and DM. And you do your absolute best. You do it every single, it sounds like I'm being motivational, but I'm just telling you like the facts. Like this is what I did. Like I just did my absolute best for Instagram, cold emailing. Did cold emailing again. I cold called. I did so many different things, and I finally got my first client, which wasn't even a client. My first client ever. Shout out Nexus. But it was. I didn't even get paid. I was just excited to just work with him on his Facebook ads originally, and then like literally the same week I got in contact with the boss man, Tyler from Points, and then we stuck with him long enough, and finally. We ended up doing email marketing because of him, and then we started scaling up, and now we're running a bunch of different brands. We just got a new client today, which is awesome, and things are moving up. So I would just say stick with it, guys. Don't give up. It sounds like I'm saying motivational, but I'm really not trying to. It's just like just do your best, do your absolute best, stick with it long enough, and just have fun with it. As much fun as you can. It's not going to be fun all the time, but have fun with it. Anyways, guys, so that is episode 2 of the Edutainment Podcast. If you guys enjoyed it, let us know. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, feel free to leave us a message. If you're watching this like on Reels or TikTok or whatever place we're sending it out now at this point, feel free to just leave a DM. We are almost guaranteeing we're going to respond. And listen, I'd love to hear back from you, both from everybody in the different spaces. But anyways, as always, I hope God blesses you in every way possible. Catch you guys in the next episode. Peace! I'm hot.
Yo, no, that's a blooper. That's a blooper.